Welcome to First and 10 with HS Live. I'm sports editor Nicholas Shiva. Again, with me is Mike McGarry. Mike, we're in Egg Harbor Township. We'll get to them in a minute. Kind of one of the stories of the season in a lot of ways. Weird schedule this week.
Yes.
A lot of teams have already played their 8 games. They're kind of entrenched,
right.
and kind of the top teams are off this week in a lot of ways.
Right. It's technically what they call week 9 of the season. The playoff brackets will be finalized this weekend. They will be announced Sunday on Halloween, an early trick-or-treat delight for high school football fans. And the playoffs start next weekend. It is a limited schedule this weekend, but some big games that are important, and we might have a few weather issues. Some games have already been switched. Mainland Clearview will be Thursday night. Williamstown and Ocean City switched to Saturday afternoon. So going to be an interesting weekend.
And also they kind of kept this weekend or kind of opened some teams for makeups and things like that because of COVID, because of what, who knows
If you had any COVID issues, for example, St. Augustine Holy Spirit was postponed earlier this season because St. Augustine had some COVID issues. That game is now Friday night at Holy Spirit. So this was kind of kept as a weekend, and thankfully I guess we don't have too many COVID postponements to make up.
All right, we'll start at the top before we get over to EHT. St. Augustine, Holy Spirit, we all mark our calendars for it every year. Do you think kind of moving it this way moving to this week in the way the state playoffs are in the parochials kind of loses a little bit of it?
I don't think so. I think it's still a big game. I think the storyline there will be in the parochial playoffs, everybody makes the postseason. So St. Joe is in, Holy Spirit's in non-public B, St. Augustine is in non-public A. You got to look at seeding. I guess everybody wants to get a look at Holy Spirit. You know, they've lost 3 in a row. They've kind of been ravaged by injuries. They started the season number 1 in the Press Elite 11. They come off a loss to Winslow Township. We'll see if they can get it back going in a good direction against St. Augustine Prep, who's number 1 in our Elite 11, comes off a 21-7 win over Shawnee.
We'll talk a little playoffs, and we'll talk about the parochials right now. St. Augustine's an interesting case because you look at the power rankings, they're near the top.
Right.
But I don't think the seedings are going to put them there.
Well, I think they are. I think the seedings are. From what I hear around the state, St. Augustine right now, the parochial teams are being seeded by seeding committees. I think St. Augustine, the question for them is, are they going to get that number 2 or are they going to get the number 3 seed?
You think they're going to be that high, considering the history with these kind of things?
I do. Well, you got to look at the playoffs before COVID happened. They went up to Seton Hall Prep and won there, and then they took St. Peter's Prep down to the last second up at Caven Point,
the
Jersey City.
Clock.
Right, the imaginary clock. So it's a question of where St. Augustine. If it's 2, it's a lot better, because if they're 2, they can get a first-round game and a semifinal game at home. If it's 3, they're going to be on the road if they win that first-round game, which is no easy task against these North Jersey Powers. If they get the number 3 seed, they're going to be on the road in the semifinals.
So you think they're going to be okay in this? Because I know there's been years when they've been near the top of these things, and the seeding committee goes, well, they're a 6.
Yeah, I think the eye test, and from what I'm hearing around the state, and plus, how they've done in the past in the playoffs, will give them an added boost this year. So I fully expect them to be either the number 2 or the number 3 seed.
I don't want to make this a St. Augustine seeding show, but do you think that game 2 years ago now, up at Craven Point, changed a lot of people's opinion in North Jersey?
I think it did, exactly, of the players that they have. And I think you also look at the players they have and where they're going to college and where they are recruited. I mean, they have a host of 1AA guys. They've got Kanye Udo, who's a big-time running back prospect. There's just a lot of talent on that football team, and I think people recognize that.
All right, now we'll move to where we are today, Egg Harbor Township, and they feel violent this weekend. The Egg Harbor Township story is amazing to me. They started slow, and they won 6 of 7 now?
Yeah, they started the season 0-2, but they've come back to win 6 out of the last 7, and right now they hold that 14th spot. 16 teams in each public school enrollment group make the postseason. They're number 14 right now. They play at Violent on Friday night. It's kind of hard to figure out the playoff seedings these days, the United Power ranking and the mixture that goes into it, but I'm pretty sure if Egg Harbor Township wins, they'll be in the playoffs. It'll be a big step for them. It'll be the first playoff appearance since 2010. It'll also give them their 7th victory, which is the most games they've won since they went 11-1 in 2009.
Another team that's kind of in those teen seed, Oakcrest, plays Pemberton on Saturday. You would assume they're the 16 seed in that group now. You would assume a win and they're in.
Yeah, again, it's hard to predict what's going to happen. Obviously, if they lose, doesn't look good for them. You have an Oakcrest team that started off the season 2-0, then they lost 5 in a row, but they're still in the playoff hunt. They're in that number 16 spot last night. They go up and face a winless Pemberton team, so an opportunity there for Oakcrest. And their brother school in the Greater Egg Harbor District, Absegami, holds the number 15 spot in that South Jersey Group 3 bracket. They're almost in the same situation. They'll be playing at Woodstown, a very good Group 1 team on Friday night. So Oakcrest and Gami have to win to give themselves an opportunity.
Before we go through the other groups, and we'll get to that in a minute, any other games this weekend kind of?
I just think an interesting game on Saturday is Ocean City at 8-0 hosting Williamstown at 4-4. We remember last year that game was kind of when the COVID disaster hit. That game was the symbol of it almost.
Yes.
They started playing, it was postponed at halftime, and and then we didn't play high school sports again till January. So it'll be great to see that game being played Saturday afternoon up at Ocean City. See if Ocean City can go to 9-0.
And not a vintage Williamstown team like we're used to the last couple of years.
No, not, but still a Group 5 team that's played a very tough schedule and is 4-4 and can't be overlooked.
Now let's go through the playoff stuff here. Group 2, Middle looks like they're in. You would assume.
Middle does look like they're in. I think I counted up. I think there's 14 teams, 11 public school from the press area, the three non-publics, but Middle Township looks good in Group 1. Probably on the road, though, I would say, in that first round.
Group 3, we talked a little bit about it already. Absegami and Oakcrest. Cedar Creek will probably be the 1 or 2 seed, which means there'll be a 1 seed in their sub-bracket.
Right. Of course, the way it works real quick, you have 16 teams make it, and then those teams are subdivided into 2 subsections of 8 teams. Cedar Creek is going to be a top seed either in South Jersey or Central Jersey, and obviously they're a team that can go all the way to a regional championship. Great stat today from Chuck Langerman, right? The quarterbacks, Landon Sini's thrown for more than 2,000 yards. 4 Cedar Creek quarterbacks have thrown for more than 2,000 yards. Only 9 quarterbacks have done it in Cape Atlantic League history, and Cedar Creek just started playing football in 2011, so it's really outstanding achievement.
But the road to a sectional crown for Cedar Creek is not going to be easy.
No.
Like, this is a really tough bracket. You've got Somerville, Rumson, Fairhaven, Walton, Delsey.
Right.
Like, this is not like,
right.
Group 2 might be a little easier some years, but this is like a...
If you look at all the 5 non-public sections in South Jersey, there's no doubt about it that Group 3 is probably the toughest, followed by Group 4.
Transitions. Connecticut School of Broadcasting paying off for you finally. Millville appears to be the class of them and Cedar Creek, the class of the public schools in this area.
In the press area.
In the press area.
Yes.
But Group 4 with us will be Millville, Ocean City, Lacey, Mainland, Hamilton. That's a pretty good group.
And again, we mentioned Millville and Cedar Creek. Let's not forget Ocean City. I mean, they might not have the high-powered, as well-known skill players as Millville and Cedar Creek, but you're talking about a football team that's given up 20 points all season. And I don't care if you're playing against air. You give up 20 points, you're still doing very good. So don't underestimate Ocean City. They're in that Group 4 mix.
They've been one of the great stories. They just keep... Every time you turn around, 44-0 on somebody. It's like...
they got a good resume. 2019, they went to the South Jersey Group 4 final. 2020, last year, they were 6-2. Had a very good season, and now they're rolling again this year.
Group 5, you have AHT. Looks like they'll probably be in. Southern... Violin is 18, but you would assume if Violin lost, they would be out.
Right, and Southern Regional plays Toms River North Friday night. I believe Toms River North is 8 and Southern is 9. So if you look at it, I mean, the winner of that game might get a first-round home game. So we'll see what happens there.
Anything else you're looking forward to this week besides not having to do +1s and multiplication and all that stuff? Which I love.
We used to be able to figure out the PowerPoints and try to project them. That's not the case anymore. We just wake up on Sunday morning and wait for the pairings to be released, which makes for a calmer Saturday night. But hey, it's great. And look, we got the sweaters on, sweatshirts on. That's high school football. 9-10 weeks ago, we're over at Ocean City, first day of the season. It's about 100 degrees. Now we're back here in Egg Harbor Township, cool weather. It's just circle of life, high school football.
And for all the talk this year about how it would be, it's been a pretty seamless year. It's been fun.
It's been a great year. It's been great to see the fans back, student sections back. It couldn't have gone any better, and let's see it continue for the next 3 or 4 weeks as we go through the playoffs and end the Thanksgiving games.
And guys, please behave yourself when you're at the games.
Exactly.
We don't need any issues. Follow all the action all weekend long at PressOfAC.com.